And why was her fucking nose looking like that, all big and swollen and shit? And then, like, was she doing cocaine or something? Yeah, she was doing the booger sugar. She was on the booger sugar, yup. Hey, what it be? It's your boy Dre OG. Welcome back to the OG family. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're rocking with the vibes and the content. But we got this when practicing what you preach goes wrong. Usually they be like, hey, practice what you preach. But look, obviously, look, man, I think they was steering us in the wrong direction. That's not the right thing to do out here. Don't even practice what you preach nowadays. But yo, we're gonna get into this video though. And these videos are made for entertainment and educational purposes. Let's get it.
7. Stephanie Regina. At around 11:30 p.m. on August the 26th of 2016, a police officer pulled up behind a Ford Edge that was sitting idly at a stop sign in Flemington, New Jersey. The vehicle remained motionless for approximately 90 seconds, even though there'd reportedly been no cars coming in either direction. At that point, the officer, Lieutenant Scott Crater, activated his emergency lights, but the driver of the Ford turned right and sped off down the road. As recorded by the patrol car's dashboard camera, Crater pursued the fleeing vehicle for about a minute, during which the Ford swerved in and out of the painted lanes before colliding with a guardrail. The officer then approached the vehicle, which had been left disabled following the crash, and began scolding the female driver about her decision to flee from the traffic stop he'd initiated. The woman showed signs of impairment and slurred her speech in the verbal exchange with the officer. As the interaction continued, she eventually revealed that she was a member of law enforcement herself. The 26-year-old, a rookie Scotch Plains officer named Stephanie Regina, was placed in handcuffs on suspicion of driving while intoxicated, in spite of her attempts to obtain release from Officer Crater's custody by using her police badge. Regina was ultimately booked on several charges, including reckless driving and eluding. Court documents indicated that the officer later pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of disorderly conduct and was given a non-custodial sentence that included an unpaid suspension from the Scotch Plains Police Department. Regina's case was not the first instance of a police officer facing criminal consequences for drunk driving, but it did mark a rather inauspicious start to her career as an enforcer of the law.
You want to know what's crazy though? Alright, so look, man, back when I was in the Air Force, you know, I was a cop at first, right? So look, the thing is, the cops that got caught for a DUI during those times, you know, look, you get kicked out the fucking military off rip. They get rid of your ass. So it's just crazy how you get just, how the civilian world is just so fucking forgiving. You make one mistake in the military, bro, your whole career be over. I'm telling you, it'd be over. They treat you like dirt if you do survive it.
6. Jacob Malone. Youth pastor Jacob Malone resigned from his position at Calvary Fellowship in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, after church leaders learned that he'd assaulted a teenager who'd come to live with him and his family. According to later reports, the victim had become pregnant as a result of Malone's abuse. Upon his criminal conviction in 2017, the 37-year-old man was ordered to serve between 3 and 6 years in prison, while Malone was serving out his sentence at the state correctional institution.
I mean, look, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. He should have had to serve all of that shit because, look, man, when you decide, bro, when your hair start to leave you and shit, and you be holding on that far right there, when your hairline start to do some shit like that, you need to serve prison time because something ain't right, man. Cut that shit the fuck off. But you did the right thing eventually, but it took too long, you know? It took a long time for that hairline to get like that, you know? It took a long time for that shit to do that. Got a long time to think about that, sir.
Was serving out his sentence at the state correctional institution, Laurel Highlands, in Somerset County. State police received a tip from another inmate that the former youth pastor was attempting to orchestrate a pair of murders. Malone allegedly offered Angelo Tomeo $5,000 to kill Calvary Fellowship pastor Harold Lee Wiggins, who'd served as a key witness in his trial. The second intended target was Common Pleas President Judge Jacqueline Cody, who'd presided over his case and denied him a lighter sentence. When investigators were made aware of Malone's murder-for-hire plot, he was charged with a slew of additional offenses, including solicitation to commit murder. Malone ultimately pleaded guilty to making threats, but as of the latest updates on the matter, a sentencing hearing hadn't yet been scheduled.
Man, they gonna give him a slap on the wrist, watch.
Hunter.
He ain't gonna get no time.
Shortly before 5 p.m. on May the 11th of 2021, police officers in Miami, Florida, responded to a car accident that had occurred at the intersection of Southwest 224th Street and Old Cutler Road. Upon their arrival, they determined that the crash had been caused by the reckless driving of veteran Miami-Dade officer Ashley Hunter. During the first moments of their interaction with her, officers noted that the woman's eyes were bloodshot and watery. She then proceeded to behave uncooperatively with officers at the scene by refusing to consent to providing a blood sample or performing a field sobriety test. The resulting arrest report mentioned how Hunter slurred her speech while talking with her fellow officers before.
And why was her fucking nose looking like that, all big and swollen and shit, and then like, was she doing cocaine or something? Yeah, she was doing the booger sugar. She was on the booger sugar, yup. Something. You know what I'm saying? Something had to be going on with that.
She eventually requested to be taken to a hospital for treatment. As she was being escorted to a police cruiser, Hunter reportedly had trouble standing upright and nearly fell to the ground while trying to climb inside the vehicle. She was subsequently transported to Jackson South Medical Center and, following her release, was taken into the custody of her colleagues on charges of DUI and DUI resulted in property damage. The officer was later released on a $2,000 bond, and the Miami Police Department announced that they were placing Hunter on paid administrative leave pending an internal investigation into the incident. Number 4. Robert Cox. In June of 2013, the pastor of the Place of Refuge Church in Manteca, California, embarked on a mission trip to Texas with his wife and a team of church interns. While passing through Las Vegas en route to their final destination, 35-year-old Robert Cox and his group reportedly stopped at the Four Kegs pub for dinner. Investigators later gathered from eyewitnesses.
You can tell from the look at that shit right there, they're gonna get into some trouble walking into that damn building. Does that scream like bad idea to you? You feel me? If you gotta go here to drink, bro, you better off just drinking by yourself, man. You know what I'm saying?
His testimony that the church members were accosted by a man in the parking lot of the establishment who proceeded to launch expletive-laden threats at them. A physical altercation ensued, during which Cox allegedly grabbed the man named as Link Ellingson and slammed him onto the pavement. 55-year-old Ellingson was knocked unconscious in the scuffle after hitting his head on the concrete, at which point he was taken to Summerlin Hospital. Cox maintained that he'd acted in self-defense during the brawl, and he initially received a letter from the Office of California's District Attorney that maintained he would not be charged in connection to the incident. After spending 6 months in a coma, Ellingson's condition rapidly worsened and he ultimately passed away from brain hemorrhaging. In December of 2013, a medical examiner ruled his death a homicide, and the authorities thus reopened their investigation into the June altercation involving Pastor Cox. Upon reviewing the matter further, detectives determined that there were inconsistencies with Cox's statements to the police about what had happened that night, and it was later announced that he was being formally charged with Ellingson's murder. The pastor was taken into custody and spent 6 days in jail before the criminal complaint against him was eventually dismissed. Number 3. Kerry, Reeves, and Adam Jackson.
I'm telling you, look, man, some of that shit don't be making sense to me, man. But look, let me know what y'all think happened with that shit right there, though.
A pair of law enforcement officers from England's Greater Manchester area were arrested following allegations that they'd routinely partaken in the use of illegal substances from 2015 to 2017. During a 2018 hearing at the Manchester Crown Court, it was revealed that the two defendants, named as police constables Kerry, Reeves, and Adam Jackson, had regularly met at hotel rooms and other similarly discreet locations to keep their criminal activity a secret. As was detailed by the authorities, Reeves and Jackson had abused the same Class A drugs that they'd been working to eradicate from the streets alongside their colleagues at the Greater Manchester Police's Tactical Aid Unit. An investigation into the alleged misconduct uncovered that the officers had obtained the substances from Jackson's longtime friend, Daniel Wade. The latter and the dealers from whom he'd sourced the illicit substances were also charged in connection to the constable's frequent drug use. Jackson was reportedly jailed for 18 months after pleading guilty to charges of encouraging or assisting the commission of an offense and possessing Class A drugs. Reeves faced 31 weeks in jail herself after entering guilty pleas to 2 counts of encouraging the commission of offenses while believing one or more would be committed. Both Jackson and Reeves resigned from their positions with the Greater Manchester Police following their convictions. Number 2.
Resign. So they had the opportunity this whole fucking time to just like fucking resign. Like they ain't just get fired. That's not gonna be on their history or no shit. Like ain't like no consequences for these motherfuckers. That's crazy. All right.
Will Smith. In March of 2022, during the live television broadcast of the 94th Academy Awards ceremony, comedian Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head. while presenting the award for Best Documentary when the broadcast cameras shifted their focus to her seated in the audience.
I ain't gonna lie, look, man. I ain't gonna lie. I might have smacked the nigga over at Jada that looked like this, you know what I'm saying? That still had the same structure without that shit being pumped into her face, you know? I might have slapped the shit out of Chris Rock on TV for that Jada right there.
Audience,
not this new Jada.
Pinkett Smith, whose hairlessness was reportedly connected to a medical condition called alopecia areata, seemed irked by Rock's remark. Shortly thereafter, the actress's husband, Will Smith, walked onto the stage, approached Rock and slapped him in the face. The prominent musician-turned-actor then returned to his seat, from where he shouted profanities at the comedian, warning him not to speak about his wife. Rock briefly acknowledged the assault before continuing the ceremony. In the immediate aftermath of the confrontation, many viewers speculated that it had either been a scripted sketch or a publicity stunt. Later on in the ceremony, Smith was presented with the award for Best Actor for his performance in the film King Richard. During his acceptance speech, he apologized to the Academy and to his colleagues for his violent outburst, but as others would later point out, Smith notably omitted Rock from his public apology. Although a portion of the incident had initially been censored in the United States, the uncut footage from Smith's slap was taken from international broadcasts and quickly went viral on social media. In the days that followed the incident, which made headlines around the world, a video from Smith's 1991 appearance on the Arsenio Hall show gained increased traction online as well. In the viral recording, the actor was shown making a joke about bassist John Williams' lack of hair. Public opinion had mostly been leaning towards supporting Rock, and the clip caused Smith's outrage towards the comedian's similarly themed quip to be widely regarded as hypocritical. On April 1st of 2022, Smith formally resigned his membership from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences after it emerged that he faced possible suspension or expulsion.
I think the Will Smith shit, I think we can't agree on something. That has to be the most prolific smacking I've ever seen in my life. But I see what it's just something don't feel right about the situation. I feel like it was scripted. I feel like that was a scripted slapping. Because this nigga stood there, man, with his hands behind his back like that. We done talked about this a million times. I just feel like it was scripted. We shall move on though. But
Michael Perrot. In early 2020, Georgia police officer Michael Perrot faced multiple criminal charges in connection to the initial assault and eventual murder of his wife. According to the Putnam County Sheriff, 44-year-old Amanda Pardue was found with a fatal gunshot wound to the head on February the 3rd at the residence she shared with her husband near Lake Oconee. Perrot had previously been suspended from the force due to charges of simple battery and family violence. The charges stemmed from a January incident in which he'd allegedly pushed and struck his wife. The officer initially told colleagues who were investigating his wife's death that the woman had grabbed a .380 caliber handgun from their nightstand and shot herself in the midst of a contentious argument. 2 days later, Officer Perrot was taken into custody at his sister's home, and it was announced that he'd been formally charged with his wife's murder. Local authorities in Eatonton publicly expressed their belief that Perrot had spurned his responsibility as a law enforcement officer and tainted his work and that of his colleagues through his indefensible actions. In February of 2022, the disgraced officer was found guilty on all counts, which included malice murder, felony murder, and aggravated assault. Perrot was consequently sentenced to serve the remainder of his life behind bars.
And that shit crazy. Look, man, it's kind of rare that you see one of them get what, actually go to jail for some shit. But, I think everybody, look, man, I know in the military they ain't play that shit, man. You fuck around, you shoot somebody. Like, I'm even talking about in the line of duty, bro. Like, your ass going straight to jail. They ain't even play that. But, it is what it is, man. Hopefully y'all enjoyed something about this video, or y'all got some type of education, But I see y'all in the next video, man. Make sure y'all got your notifications on so y'all can get these videos as soon as I drop them. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that's very important. Make sure y'all go ahead and smash that like button, especially if you made it to this point of the video. And I do, once again, I'm keep telling you, I appreciate the people that's coming out for my birthday. Shit's gonna be lit. I appreciate y'all. Like I always say, spread love, because there's too much hate in this world. I love you guys. I see y'all in the next video. And I'm out though. Bye.